So welcome to Native Racing for the final round at Bathurst. We've got a 90-minute race. Mandatory pit stop is required. There's no pit window and no requirements in the pits itself. All they've got to do is go up and jacks, and we're just about to go green. So Ryan, if you keep a tab on the front, I'll have a look at the back.
Sure. We're green. We
are away.
And I'm Slow's got a jump into ahead of Jazzman into turn one. I am Slow's leading the way through turn one.
Perfect start for him.
Yeah, definitely.
Great start from him there.
Jazzman being the reserve that has made, I think, the last few races, is now under pressure from PS Vids as well.
Yeah, it's a track that I think Jazzman does like, but everyone seems to get away cleanly there. So I can't see any real other movements. We'll just have to wait until the board catches up. But yeah, perfect start then from I Am Slow. An hour and a half is a long time to try and keep Jazzman behind you, though. We all know how quick Jazzman can actually be. Right, sorry about that. I seem to have a few technical difficulties with my mic. Right, so we've still got I Am Slow leading the race with Jazzman in second. Those two have pulled away over a second from PS Vids, so I'm not sure if there was a mistake involved or not. But PS Vids has got Spuzz all over the back of him. A little bit of a gap then back to Pete Bibb in fifth, and then Nielsen running in sixth place. So just under 2.5 seconds behind him. A new starter tonight. I've not seen him race before. He's GGJ. He's running in seventh place with Archie following. Dominator is in ninth place. You got Didi in 10th. Now I expect Didi to go as someone has spun out, and that was Nielsen. Nielsen has spun, which puts him all the way to the back of the pack. Everybody else has kind of come through. And I expect there to be some damage there. Actually, apart from Denny Boy, it looks as though, as well, looking at his car, that he's got a bit of damage. So these two boys might need to look to pit early, get that damage done. As I just see Denny Boy going very wide off of turn one. But still leading is I Am Slow. He's being closely followed by Jazzman. Jazzman putting a lot of pressure on him. But experienced driver, a champion across different platforms, PS4 and PS5. He knows this is a long race. He knows he's got pace. He was over a second faster, almost 2 seconds faster actually than I Am Slow in qualifying. So he knows this is a marathon and not a sprint. Just looking at PS Vids, Spuzz looking to put pressure on him, but he's got the pressure from Pete Bibb now. Pete Bibb's actually caught up. So it's a three-way battle there for third place. And they pulled out a bit of a gap, just over 4 seconds to GGJ. I just hope Andy's able to keep up with the action on this. So it's been an interesting start that we've actually had here. Just going back to Jazzman down a long straight, too far back to let's try and make a move there. Looks as though the Audi has got the top end speed to be able to keep the Bentley within distance, so he can't make that kind of last minute lunge into that turn after the long straight. Just looking at DD actually now, looking to put pressure actually on Dominator to see if he can actually get a move done. Might have the straight line speed coming down here. Can he get this move done coming up into turn 2? No, it does look like he's a little bit too far back. Okay, so Nielsen does go into the pits, as expected, to get that damage done. I think that's a good move from him. It's a long race. May need to come back into the pits again, may need to do a second pit, but depending on how much his damage was, it could cost you a lot more having to run 90 minutes on a car that's got damage in it. Just see Jazzman get a little bit close to I Am Slow there. And Danny Boy comes into the pits as well. I'm not sure if that was a standard pit stop or if he just exited the pits. We shall find out soon. So again, watching Jazzman trying to put a move on I Am Slow coming down the long straight. Again, he's too far back. So it looks as though I Am Slow is being able to keep him at bay at the moment. Just go back to the PS vids. So he's still got Spuzz behind him. It looks as though Pete Bibb has actually fallen off a little bit, so he must have made a mistake somewhere along the lines there as well. But Archie's now getting pressure from Dominator and Dee. So we've now got, again, a three-way battle for 7th place here. And GGJ seems to be kind of not able to put any pressure onto Pete because he's too far back. As I say, I'm literally just about to say, but now Archie's now closing up on him. So we could actually have a 4-way battle for 6th place.
Audio check. Hello?
Welcome, Andy.
Hello. Oh, alright guys, apologies for my bit of a late coming. I couldn't find my mic. Either my nan or the cleaner had put it in a little box in the corner of the room. And so I spent about 20 minutes having a complete brain freeze. You know when like you leave something in a certain location and you just automatically your brain knows exactly where it is, and you just you relax, you know where it is, you don't worry, you don't stress, you know where you left it. You go to pick it up and it's not there. And it's like, oh, hold on a second, how has this happened? This isn't right, I haven't moved it. And it's
it looks like Jazzman is looking to try and make a move. Sorry, Andy.
Sorry.
He's still behind.
Yeah, no, he wasn't close enough to actually make that, but he might look at it coming into the final corner. No.
This is great, seeing I Am Slow giving Jazzman a real run for his money, though.
I was going to say, we said this at the start between me and Freeman, that I Am Slow has been sort of on and off through the grid throughout the season. And he comes to his home Grand Prix and he is leading. He qualified second and he's now leading ahead of Jazzman.
How close?
I couldn't even keep up with.
How close was he in the qualifying? How close was he?
I can't remember.
Almost 2 seconds. I suppose over one lap though, he might not have got his tyres up to temperature.
There's a great battle going on here for 6th place at the moment.
There's
a 4-way battle
for 3rd as well.
Yeah, with Spuzz, yeah.
It's PS Vids, Spuzz, and you've got GGJ, Archie, Dinotaur, and Dee. Dee's now making a move round the outside, coming up the hill with Dinotaur. Is he going to be able to make that work? No, he just let off slightly. But I'm hopping back to the front because these two have been going at it proper hard.
Yeah, I think IMSO's got decent pace down the straights, hasn't he, in that Audi? So whatever the Bentley's got up these parts of the track, it's so hard to overtake up the mountain, and IMSO is just able to sort of consolidate that gap that he's got down the straights, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I noticed the first couple of laps is that along the straights, you'd expect Jazzman in the Bentley to be able to kind of close up the gap with a bit of slipstream, but it's just not. It's not happening. So I think the power of the Audi, essentially, especially the kind of accelerating part, is just superior to the Bentley, and it's actually playing in Iron Slow's favour at the moment. Jazzman so far hasn't been able to come up with any answers to it.
Definitely. Looking at Spuzz at the minute, he's still on the back of PS Vids, but a little bit too far back. He's getting closer though by the looks of it, Spuzz is. Maybe the next lap could be his chance. What's happened with Farmerson's got ahead of Guitar Rich up into 9th. So that's job done.
There was a bit of an accident, I think, with Didi and Dementa. I think there was a bit of a collision. I didn't see what actually happened, but you can see Didi's actually now over 2.5 seconds off of Archie. So I think it might have been a bit of a coming together.
Dementa's nowhere. Yeah, he is now 12 seconds behind Farmerson and Guitar Rich. I wonder if that might have been the shift that I saw on the screen then, because I saw a few names pop up and down. And it might not have actually been. It could have been Farmerston actually getting ahead of Guitar Rich, but could have also been Dimenta dropping down. And he's actually coming into the pits now, so he seems to have undergone some quite heavy damage there because he's coming in very early. And I reckon it might be touch and go. He might have to pit again because he might not be able to put enough fuel in the car to get to the end from here, maybe.
Also tyre wear as well.
Yeah. Less of a factor.
Which is a little bit low, so it depends on how easy it is to get the tyres up to optimum temperatures. If they can't, if they are struggling, then the tyre wear, there'll be a lot of graining going on with cold tyres. And I'm just seeing that I'm Slow and Jazzman are actually coming up on a bit of traffic. I think that's Nielsen.
Yeah, Nielsen is
just
so
coming
down
Nielsen
the hill.
that they'll be coming up on. So I Am Slow is going to be wanting Nielsen to get well out of the way as soon as he can.
Dimenta's still in the box, so he's that damage is taking a little while to sort out. Spuzz looks like he's possibly even closer to the back of PS Vids as they're coming down towards the chase. This could be Spuzz's best opportunity.
It's a similar story with the respect more so with the Porsche. Porsche doesn't have that top end, and the Aston has definitely got more power coming down that straight. I think we saw it a few weeks ago at Zandvoort. I think it's the same too again, where we had the Porsche following the Aston, and it just had no answer to the straight line speed.
That was on Sunday.
Finish line.
Yeah, it was a couple of nights ago. That was for the sprint championship. Yeah, I noticed that as well.
I'm Slow, and Jazzman are now coming up on Nielsen and Dimitor.
So they're coming up on the three guys that have pitted.
I'm So's defending as well as he flashes his lights. There's a bit of a thank you there to Nielsen for moving well out of the way for them. But I'm So's defending down a lot of these straights and having to be a little bit wily now about how he's doing things. He knows that Jazzman is no easy customer. Obviously, Jazzman, he's won championships here at Motive before. I don't think he's in the reckoning for this one. But then again, Archie down in P10, what's the situation? Do we know the situation? Because I think Spuzz is in it.
I can quickly just check that.
Yeah, Spuzz is in the lead going into the final day. So, yeah, I'm going to have a quick look at the...
Yeah, I'm going to put that up. Well. My computer had a bit of an incident the other day.
Spuzz is leading by 147. Then it's Archie on 141.
Yeah, so 6 points back to Archie.
Jazzman is nowhere near going to win this. He's over 70 points behind Spuzz. So it's between Spuzz, Archie, and Pete Bibb. If Pete Bibb can win,
Pete Bibb has got an outside chance. Yeah.
Well, he's only a couple of seconds behind Spuzz, and he's only about the same amount of time off of Spuzz as he is off of PS Vids. So podium's not out of the question for Pete Bibb.
He needs to win, and Pete Bibb needs to win, and Spuzz and Archie to finish
near the back.
8th, no, 9th or worst. Which you can never know with how the pit stops are going to go.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
And I've just seen Archie's moved down to 10th, so Archie must have actually made a mistake. Because Didi's now right on the back of GGJ. Although I've just looked at GGJ
all over
and
the back of I'm Slow here. But I'm Slow's making it a really hard battle for him to get past. I mean, when I've raced Jazzman, Jazzman's been very quick in making passes, but Jazzman just doesn't want to get too involved, I don't think.
Not an easy track to overtake when you've got a car that isn't the best in top end. I mean, the Bentley's kind of like, I'd say, average in terms of overall speed. Obviously, the BOP on an ACC means that there's been a lot of balancing with the Bentley because it's OP as anything. When it's got when it's got the sort of power that a Bentley has in real life, it's OP as anything on this game. So they've had to limit its power quite a lot. So the Bentley isn't as quick as you would think it would be. But it's certainly the Audi, I think, has got the legs on it, especially down the long straights.
I think Spuzz has actually just got the jump on PS Vids.
Oh, has he got ahead of him?
He has.
Yeah.
It's now closing up to be a bigger battle for P3 battle. But Jazzman actually clipped the wall going up the hill and nearly just lost the back end there coming down the hill into the sharp left-hander. So Jazzman makes a couple of mistakes here and there, and if he keeps doing that, it could give I'm Slow the win.
It's very tense stuff, but yeah, I'm Slow's doing what he has to do. The question is, though, I mean, we're only 17 minutes into this race. You know, it's all well and good being able to hold a guy behind you for a few laps, but to be able to keep this up for 90 minutes, bear in mind we've had 7 laps in 17 minutes, so we're probably going to end up doing about 40 odd laps of this race. 7 laps is good. 7 or 8 laps, yeah, fair play. To do this for another 30 odd laps, I mean, he's going to take definitely a lot of composure from I Am Slow to be able to do that. But you know, he's showing he's got the potential to do it. In the meantime, these guys who are battling over the podium spots are just putting a lap on Nilsson. You can see Pete Bibb coming through there. Pete Bibb's actually closed the gap a little bit on Spuzz and PS Vids. Maybe that could be because Spuzz had to make the move on PS Vids. That could have slowed them both down. But Pete Bibb definitely bringing himself into this battle for the podium spots. Also keeping an eye on Farmerson. He's got ahead of he was already ahead of Guitar Edge, sorry. But Archie's actually reeling them in, so Archie trying to recover a bit of the lost time here. He's got back ahead of Didi and is now looking at Farmerson and Guitar Edge in front of him. So one of the championship contenders, I mean, it's looking very unlikely at this point with Spuzz up in P3, but Archie's just trying to salvage what he can out of this one and keep himself in the hunt, hope that maybe Spuzz makes a mistake or has an incident before the end of this race. You just never know what might happen over the course of what is still a 72-minute race here, and there's still a lot to play for.
Of course, yeah, as well, because Archie could lose out on second place to Pete Bibb as well.
Yeah, he certainly could.
Pete Bibb run up in 5th, you know, if he can get himself ahead of PS Vids, putting himself in contention to actually be second in the championship.
Yeah, PS Vids is just losing touch a little bit with Spuzz.
Who was that?
Farmerson.
Farmerson, yeah, Farmerson just lost it coming up the hill.
Oh, what a shame. So Guitar Edge, Archie and Didi, I think, might have got caught out a little bit, yeah, because he's dropped well off at the back of Guitar Edge and Archie now. So Farmerson there just having a bit of contact with...
Messed up.
Who is?
Jazzman's now into the lead.
No way. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound all disappointed there. I mean, right. Well, that's I Am Slow there into P2. What a shame. I mean, I'm gutted because that was shaping up to be a really exciting one there. That's a bit of a shame, that is, because I was hoping he'd be able to keep him at bay for a bit longer, maybe give him a bit of a fight. You know, we haven't seen Jazzman been really tested in this Wednesday GT3 League so far, so that's a bit of a bummer. PS Vids has fallen off of Spuzz by quite a bit, actually. Pete Bibb is now right on the back of him. What's happened? In fact, Pete Bibb is ahead of PS Vids, so he's obviously made the move there on the exit of turn 1. Pete Bibb now into P4. PS Vids is dropping backwards here.
Yeah, he is. I mean,
He looks like he's he might be carrying a bit of damage actually. PS Vids.
Yeah, I think you're
On
right.
the back of his car.
Oh, that was a drift, and he is into the
back of his
wall.
car. He's into the wall again there. Yeah, so he's definitely carrying some damage. So
The thing about pitting now is that you could quite feasibly get to the end on one fuel load at the moment, and plus the tyres would probably be able to hang in there just over an hour. You would think he'd be in an alright position to make that happen, maybe. What do you reckon?
an hour and 10 minutes. It's a long time to go.
Yeah. I mean, it's tricky, but it's doable.
Yeah, it depends on how much damage is affecting the car. I mean, you've got if it is affecting the car, the ability you've got to come in and pit. At this stage of the race, you've got an hour and 10 minutes of racing still. You've got to just try it. Come in the pits and just hope that you can hang on to those tyres. And kind of it's with the damage, it's kind of more forcing your hands more than anything, because if it is affecting your performance, there's no point. All you got, like you said earlier, he's going backwards, and that's all that's going to happen. He's going to keep falling further and further away.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see what he does as he's coming around through the final chicane. Farmerson's in the pits, obviously, to get the damage repaired for the incident that he had when he was battling. He was trying to keep Archie, Guitar Rich and Didi behind him. It didn't work out. PS Fitz is staying out for the time being, so he clearly feels he's got a grip on this damage. Doesn't feel like it's affecting his performance too much. Maybe he feels like he can counter it, with a little bit of maybe just being a bit aggressive on the steering and potentially just being a bit more counteractive.
I've just looked back at the replay, and Farmerson just lost the back end coming over the crest and just driving into the race, reversing into the racing line, which caught out Didi. Didi didn't actually make much contact with him, so Didi should be okay.
Yeah, so Didi's actually closed in a little bit on Archie and Guitar Rich since the incident, because obviously he lost a bit of time, but obviously, as you said before, didn't pick up any additional damage just to rub salt in the wounds for the time that he lost. So I think that, like you say, he's probably alright, but he's certainly brought the gap down a little bit. It was about 3 seconds after the incident, and it's down at 2.1, his gap to Guitar Rich. So he is starting to bring himself back into that as it just goes up a little bit there by 0.2 up to 2.3. The gap at the front between Jazzman and I Am Slow is extending 8 seconds now. That is the margin between those two. So Jazzman does seem to be in control of this at the moment. Pete Bibb's pulled away from PS Fitz by 2 seconds, but PS Fitz isn't losing too much time to Pete Bibb now. Sorry, in fact he is kind of keeping the gap at just over 2 seconds. So PS Fitz might have just got a hold of that. Potentially him running wide, coming through that left-hander, coming up towards the mountaintop, was potentially just down to maybe trying to recover from getting into a bit of a rut. As I say that, he's now 3 seconds behind, so he lost a second through that one sector alone. So maybe he is struggling with that damage, and maybe he's just trying to plod along through it. But Archie's gapped Guitar Rich by just over a second. The gap between Guitar Rich and Didi's still staying at just over 2 seconds. In fact, that's not changed really. Right, hold on, Didi's actually gained on Guitar Rich here, so he's gained about a second there coming through the middle sector. It's now only 1.1 here between Guitar Rich and Didi, so has Guitar Rich made a bit of a mistake there?
Well, I've just been watching them because I've been keeping my eye on Didi, just while you've been talking. I didn't see anything from Guitar Rich. I think with the Porsche, it's always going to gain on a Lexus going through the mountains, but you'd expect coming down the hill, the straight, that the Lexus will pull away from the Porsche. Although, looking at the time splits, it doesn't seem to have happened that.
Not majorly, no. It doesn't. It looks like Didi's still kind of hung on to him down those faster sections, which, like you say, doesn't make a whole load of sense. As we can just see that
Tartic was going defensive actually, and Didi's come past.
Yeah, did he just? It looked like he was letting him past. To be fair.
Oh, Didi just
goes wide.
Looked like he was letting him past, from what I could see.
It did look it looked more like he came off the throttle.
Yeah, like you say, at first it looked like he might be going defensive, but then the way that Didi just breezed past him like he wasn't even there suggested to me otherwise. in the meantime, PS Vids has gained about half a second on PS Vids. That gap was 2, then it went up to 3, and it's now come down to 2.7. So PS Vids, I think, quickened the faster parts of the track. The first sector that Aston certainly got a little bit, but then again, people within the Lexus, you'd expect them to be pretty evenly matched around each sector, if I'm honest with you. But that gap seems to be coming down a little bit at this point. So PS Vids, obviously, we said before, running damage, obviously made that mistake, but Pete Bibb a little bit quicker through that middle sector just there. Didi's pulled out a little bit of a gap here to Guitar Rich. That looks like it's over a second now between those two. So that's to be expected really after Guitar Rich pretty much waved him through. Dimenta's got Nilsson on the back of him as well. Nilsson's right on him as they come through the chicane. As these two are battling out over position, 10th and 11th. Oh, it's Nilsson wide. And that's going to allow one of the front runners, GGJ there, just putting a lap. Yeah. GGJ is putting a lap there on Nilsson and will be putting a lap on Dimenta in due course. But the race is just kind of petering out a bit now. I mean, everybody's kind of just found their own spot, I think, on this leaderboard. And potentially we could be now waiting for the pit stops to come around to kind of shake things up.
Maybe, because Guitar Rich is keeping up with Didi. Maybe there was contact between them at some point. Guitar Rich maybe felt that
we've lost the driver. Who have we lost?
Danny Boy's left.
Danny Boy. Was he in last?
He was in last.
Oh, right, okay.
He was 5 laps down.
Ah, right, okay. No surprise.
Emerson GT.
Yeah, so I wonder if Guitar Rich, they had contact with Didi. Maybe he had contact with Didi and felt he should give the place back.
I don't think Guitar Rich and Didi have been anywhere near each other.
It didn't seem like there was any contact preceding the let through to me. I could be wrong.
No,
but
maybe it was before. It was just odd the way that it looked like, as you said, he kind of allowed him to go through, and then for that rest of that lap, he was keeping right on the tail of him.
Yeah.
In the last 2 laps, there was nothing that would suggest that they made contact. Didi was was much further behind. I think Guitar Rich may have just let him through because Didi was ahead of him by quite a bit, and he's just trying to keep with Didi to close the gap to the guys in front.
Yeah, could be that he's looking just to hang on to the back of him, potentially knowing that he's a bit of he might be a faster car, or might feel that he's a faster driver, and can kind of, if he can hang on to the back of him, those two can work together to try and pull in Archie.
This Vids is dropping down quite a bit from Pete Bibb as well now. He's now 3 seconds away from Pete Bibb. And I think GGJ is possibly catching up to him as well.
Alright, we've got some comments coming in. Sebastian used to commentate with us in the early days here on Project Cars 2. Says Cargo from PS Vids. Yeah, what about him? So you all don't have one guy responsible for the cameras, obviously talking about early in the race. Who spun?
Didi spun right in front of Guitar Rich on the final corner. So Didi's back behind Guitar Rich, and he's now got to make the move back again.
Oh no. Well, I wonder if Guitar Rich is going to make it as easy for him as he did last time. JR in the comments saying, "Let's go Didi, Sean's voice sounds hot," says JR.
Wait, JR, where's my comment about me and my sexy voice?
Yeah, what about mine? So obviously... Huh? What?
We heard you, Andy.
Hey? Didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. Shut up. But anyway, we got Tina also. Welcome to Tina chiming in. Saying hello. JR also says good evening, Tina, and also says impossible to pass on a mountain, says JR. Jazz needs to get it done on the straights. Well, he did that, didn't he? Because I am so made his mistake, which gave Jazzman P1, and since then Jazzman has taken the money and run with it by the looks of it. He's now got a 15-second lead. It doesn't look like anybody's going to be catching him anytime soon. Spuzz is closing in on I Am Slow a bit though. That gap's only 6 seconds, so the championship leader could maybe be bringing himself into P2 pretty shortly. The gap between Pete Bibb and PS Vids is staying at around the same, still around 2 seconds. Those two seem quite evenly matched for pace, but obviously Pete Bibb's got that track position. and Didi's not really making much impression on Guitar Rich as PS Vids is into the pits here on lap 14, end of lap 14, obviously coming in at more or less the half an hour mark into the race, 1 hour left still, so he's pitting a third of the way into the race. It's quite an early pit stop for him, but I mean, is it going to work out? It's still a long way to go.
I mean, I wouldn't do that. I don't know if you would agree with me, Sean. I mean, I would go sort of 45 minutes in that region. It's sort of the centre mark of the race, and you'll have fresh tyres going off till that point, and then you'll have the same towards the end. Whereas if you pit now, you're going to have a lot worse tyres, which I saw when I raced last season in the GT4s. On the final race here, I looked at my tyres and they were just shot
to pieces.
I think it's a difficult one though, because he's obviously carrying damage. We saw that he was carrying damage before he then ended up hitting the wall as well. So he's run for 10 minutes with the damage, and I think, as I was saying earlier, if the damage is too much and it is slowing you down, I think you've got to come in and repair it. You definitely got to come in to kind of look to try and get that damage done, because you've still got an hour of the race. It's a long time to be running a car at, say, 80% of its capacity of the abilities of what it should be able to do. And just looking at his car, he's definitely prepared. Oh, has he actually? Just need to see the angle from behind.
Yeah, I'd say, he's just hit the wall, so it's straight into the wall. Yeah, so even if he did,
if he has damage,
yeah. So it doesn't really matter now, does it? But yeah.
Here, Spids, how's your luck?
Well, I mean, if he had damage before, if he didn't have damage before, he certainly has now.
Yeah, if he hasn't repaired it, then that's definitely going to be even more so that he potentially will be coming into the pits again.
Oh dear. Nonetheless, Dimensus on the back of Nielsen. In a battle for 10th place at the moment, as these two have actually been quite close for a while, but in fact Nielsen was behind Dimentus, so he must have made the move on him up into P10. We've also got Archie just behind them trying to put a lap on him, so this is going to be interesting, because obviously these two battling for position. Are they going to just wave him by, or are they going to try and keep themselves both in this battle? Coming through turn 1 there, Dimentus does get a little bit heavy onto the curb. Archie will have to run, but Dimensus very reluctant here to surrender any ground here to his rival for this 10th place position in Nielsen, but he is now, I think, easing off a little bit. No, Archie is still very much stuck behind him at the moment, and Dimensus does appear to be ignoring those blue flags, and in a way it's actually a bit of an anti-climax with these blue flags on ACC, because they wave the blue flags like, oh yeah, you've got to let him pass, blah blah blah. But do you know what happens if you ignore them and don't actually let them pass? Nothing.
I mean,
nothing happens. Nothing happens. Absolutely nothing happens. You literally get away with it. Then nothing happens on the game.
GT racing though, Andy, the blue flag in GT racing is not like a blue flag in F1 racing where you have to kind of pull over and get out of the way.
It's more of a warning to the drivers.
It's to allow the driver to let them know that there's a faster car that's coming up behind, and they should be aware that it's likely the driver behind is just going to chuck it into the corner to get past them.
Yeah, of course. No, I understand it completely. It's not a rule, it's more of a, you might want to do this maybe, possibly. But like, at this point, I mean, Archie's probably going to be getting frustrated because Dimensus is just kind of like, hurting his ability to really close in on those up ahead of him. He's a little way off at the back of GGJ at the moment, so 13 seconds. Has he got the pace maybe to rid him in?
This is going to help Guitar Rich and Didi, which I'm just looking at now, because Didi's actually caught up to the back of Guitar Rich again. But this is going to help those two kind of really Archie. They're not going to be stuck behind Delenta and Nielsen. It's just going to pay in their favour.
Yeah, oh definitely. Absolutely. But we can see Didi's now within half a second of Guitar Rich. As we're watching at the moment, Archie just coming up towards turn 1. Still can't make the move on Dimensus. Dimensus lost about a second and a half to Nielsen over the course of that lap. So Nielsen has just managed to extend that a bit. I don't know if Dimensus maybe should at this point, probably better advised maybe to just let Archie through. But then again, he looks like he's pulling away from him at points, so maybe he doesn't need to. Possibly Nielsen and
done it again as well.
More than capable.
Just let Didi go through.
Right, so he's allowing him to go through to then follow.
John Jig said on the YouTube comments, by the way, just thought I'd mention this. John Jig said that Rich is managing. He's got pedals that are broken. So he says that it might not have been Rich letting him past, it could have been his pedals. But then again, twice in the same spot, to me, I don't think that's an accident.
No, yeah, twice, same spot, same kind of, exactly the same kind of play out. I think he feels Didi is the faster driver, and that he can tuck it in behind him, follow him around, and try and get Didi to drag him up to Archie. Which I do feel sorry for Archie at the moment, because he is still stuck behind these two. It is such a difficult situation. I mean, me personally, I would try to be a sportsman, try and play it sportsmanlike. If I do get the blue flag, I will just ease off a little bit, allow them to kind of go through, try and do it in a place where I know it's not going to cost me too much time. I can tuck in behind them, follow them through, and then my hope would be that when he then looks to make a move on, say for example, Nielsen, you could just follow him straight through. That would be my plan.
It would make a bit more sense
in that position. Yeah, if we know if it's Nielsen in that position at this point, Nielsen would pull out and allow Archie the space and go through, and allow Archie to go through.
Oh, as Nielsen's made a mistake coming out of the last corner, and Dimentis got a right run on him, and maybe actually Dimentis played the right game here, because I tell you what, if he had let Archie go there, he wouldn't have been in a position to capitalise on Nielsen's mistake there. But Dimentis up into P10 now, and Archie's got through, and Archie might have a run here on Dimenta as well. So they're going to be side by side up the hill, and Dimentis going to have to be watching out. He's going to have to be careful here, because Archie's obviously about to put a lap on him. If he's able to keep it there, and in the end Dimenta does ease off a little bit, and Archie now around the outside into some clean air. I think Dimenta could sense an opportunity there to let off and still hold position on Nielsen, so he thought might as well just surrender it here and now and not lose out, because he could have ended up fighting that one and then lost out to Nielsen. So Dimenta picking his battles very well there, I think.
Yeah, like you say, I think that played out extremely well for him. The Nelson kind of obviously getting a little bit out of shape coming out of the final corner allowed both of them to actually make that pass on him, and then they just saved the timing of Dementa kind of coming off.
It was perfect.
Slipping back it in. Yeah, it was. Yeah, great driving there actually. But you can already see that Archie's now starting to pull away from both of them, so he was definitely slowed up by the pair.
Also noticing one thing, and like we mentioned earlier, Guitar Rich is keeping up with Didi at the moment. This is the part of the track where Didi has the pace because he's driving in the Porsche, and the Porsche, as we know, it's got fantastic traction, it's very quick through the corners, got good aero. The Lexus is a beast down the straights, but it's not the best at turning. And but Guitar Rich is just clinging to the back of him, which makes it all the more perplexing as to why twice now he has waved him by, just gone, I'll get off to you, Didi, and then let him continue on his merry way. I am snowed in the meantime as coming into the pits at the end of lap 18, so he's currently sat in his box at the moment, and he's just now getting off and on his way. So it'd be interesting to see if Spuzz can get the jump on him, because I know that Spuzz was only around 5 seconds behind him when they came in. Could be quite dependent.
He was a lot more than that. It was 10 seconds when I last saw. So
was he? I thought he closed in quite a bit. Maybe that's changed then.
It was 10 seconds before Spuzz come in, so it is going to be a bit of an ask for Spuzz, depending on what strategy I'm Slow's going for.
Oh yeah, it was about
as well,
it was about 7. It was about 8 seconds. Yeah, it was about 8. Hold on.
So I'm going to say, Ryan, it comes down to what you were saying earlier as well with regards to time
you're
management.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
I'm Slow has now got 50 odd minutes to kind of keep those tyres as fresh as he can. Whereas Spuzz, depending on when Spuzz looks to come in, if he goes even to kind of 40 minutes left of the race, will have a lot of pressure
PS
tyres.
Vids is back in as well. He is really struggling here. He's got some suspension damage.
He only came in 10 minutes ago. That's not gone to plan at all there for him. I tell you what, PS Vids is having an absolute nightmare of a race. If we look at I Am Slow, he's come out. I mean, he might have come out to head of Archie, but I have I have bad experiences with this timing board, so I might be telling you lies there. No, I'm not. Timing board is telling me the truth, so therefore I can tell you the truth. So I Am Slow has come out just ahead of Archie, but obviously Archie's still yet to pit. Guitar Rich is still keeping on the back of Didi, which is really bizarre, because like we said before, he just let him pass, you know, like it wasn't his battle, and it clearly is his battle, because they're very evenly matched at this point. They're not really gaining on Archie much. The gap's staying at around 6 seconds. It's been 6 seconds now for the last few minutes, so that's not really, nothing's really changing in regards to that. We kind of already knew about that one, but PS Vids is sat in the box once again, and I wonder whether or not he's going to be getting moving anytime soon.
He's been in there for a little while.
Didi, so he's got to try and get past the Menton. It depends on how he plays that. You know, is he going to kind of just hold his position like he did with Archie, or is he going to allow him to cut 2 guys through? Just looking at it, you know, Archie's actually pulled away by just under half a second from Didi. He was up to 6.9, so yeah, 7.2. So I don't know if that was the right choice. If Guitar Rich did allow Didi to go through, if that was the right choice, maybe he would have done better, kind of chasing down the pack.
So I've just worked it out that I'm Slow's gone with tyres and fuel. From my estimation, because if it was about 8 seconds when he come in, it would have been like a 50-second pit stop in total from the pit lane from entry to exit. So it would have been tyres as well on that pit stop.
So I'm so maybe might have the pace to go on Jazzman later on, but maybe
He would have prepared, or potentially repair his damage as well.
Yep.
I don't think he made that much contact with any walls.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he had damage because he was keeping Jazzman behind him in the early laps, and then once Jazzman got past him, it's like he just suddenly had got a rocket up his arse.
From the start of Sector 2 to the end of Sector 2, start of Sector 3 to the end of Sector 3, I Am Slow gained a second on GGJ and has pulled 5/10 on Archie, which at the start of that lap it was 1 second and it's now 2.7 seconds. So he's definitely got the pace to pull away a bit more.
Yeah, we know I Am Slow's got the pace over Archie. Archie's been sort of like on the fringes of the mid-pack tonight. You know, hasn't been in the battle for the podium spots, nowhere near. But he's been solid mid-pack. But I Am Slow, I don't know if he's on the pace of Jazzman at this point. I reckon he's probably going to be in a battle maybe with Spuzz come the end, who knows. Maybe he's got the edge over Spuzz. As we say that, actually, you know what? Archie's just closed in on I Am Slow by quite a lot as well. He's gained 8/10 as Archie on I Am Slow. So I don't know what's going on with I Am Slow, but he seems to have had a few struggles coming through the first sector there, around a part of the track where the Audi's considered to be quite good.
I was going to say though, but up the mountain, the twists and turns with cold tyres, you'd expect Archie to have gained a little bit there.
Yeah, but he's done an out lap.
Has he?
Yeah, this is the second lap out. Very strange.
There wouldn't be these cold tyres then.
I mean, yeah, it'd be more or less up to temperature at this point. Let's keep an eye on this gap though. It's gone up to 3.1, so maybe it was a little mistake there from I Am Slow, which just dropped him about a second, because he's gained that time back and some. So he looks like he's now getting back into a bit of a rhythm. Pete Bibb is in the pits, so he's making his mandatory pit stop bang in the middle of the race, which is the most logical way of doing things, I must say. GGJ is coming through the first corner at the moment. He's 15 seconds behind Pete Bibb when they last crossed the checkpoints for the sectors, but obviously Pete Bibb being in the pits means that will change. I Am So There's running about 7 seconds behind GGJ at the moment. You can see Archie there in the background. I Am So's definitely pulling away from Archie now, so he's obviously got the edge over him. DD is now pulling away a bit from Guitar Rich. That gap's now nearly 2 seconds between those two, as they've still got Dimenta in the middle of them. And obviously Nilsson in the pits now, so that's going to be an exciting one to witness how that pans out. With well, hold on a second. Wait.
Stop for Nilsson.
Yeah, hold on. Why is that? Why is he coming?
Nilsson, he had to pit straight away, like within the first 2 laps, because he got a lot of damage.
Oh right, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Right,
so he's obviously come in the first time to repair damage.
This is his scheduled stop.
To do his normal,
yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. Oh well, as you've got Jazzman here just putting a lap on one of the Lexuses, which would probably be, I would imagine, Pete Bibb. It is indeed. Pete Bibb is just ahead of a Mercedes, that's Farmerson. And these guys...
Archie's made a few mistakes, because he's now 7 seconds behind I Am Slow. Deedy is now 4 seconds behind him, so just clicked on. That doesn't look like 4 seconds to me. That looks a lot closer than 4 seconds.
That's about 2.5, I reckon.
Yeah, so
that's about 2
seconds. Yeah, so.
Yeah, 2 seconds exactly.
So yeah, Archie definitely struggling at this point. It might be because his tyres might be starting to go off. But yeah, definitely struggling with keeping that car controlled as he now goes into the pits, followed straight by Didi as well.
Yeah, GGJ is also in the pits here at the end of lap 22. So GGJ probably come out, I imagine, P7 where he was before. Guitar Rich we also saw putting a lap on Dimenta just before he dived into the pits. So 4 drivers coming into the pits here at the end of lap 22, and obviously some of them I think pitting just before the halfway mark, some pitting just after, but they're all pretty much cutting the race into 2 separate halves, two nice even stints if you like. And right now it looks as though GG will probably come out ahead of at the head of this pack of 4 cars. He was quite a long way ahead of them beforehand, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight between Archie, Didi and Guitar Rich, that's for sure. Pete Bibb's now coming around to reassume a net P4 here in this race. He wasn't too far off at the back of Spuzz before, but I think Spuzz was far enough ahead of him to be pretty much safe from an overcut, or an undercut actually, as it is. I mean, yeah, Pete Bibb, where is he in relation to I Am Slow? I Am Slow's coming. Oh, I Am Slow's coming towards the back end of the mountain section, and Pete Bibb is just coming up to the start of it. So there's probably about 40 odd seconds between those two. Yeah, 48 seconds the gap between those two. Obviously, we saw I Am Slow definitely changing tyres, so he probably spent the maximum amount of time in the pit stop. Oh yeah, he has. Yeah, well, we expected that, didn't we?
Well, Didi was behind him though when they entered the pits.
Oh wow! So Didi has made that happen. And Guitar Rich has come out ahead of all of them.
Yeah, I was just literally looking at him and thinking, where is he then?
Yeah,
he's ahead of all of them. Yeah.
Guitar Rich has got an absolute flyer of a pit stop, but we don't know whether or not he changed tyres. I mean, if he didn't, then he's going to struggle. So we'll see, I guess. I mean, he must have not changed tyres, surely. What else? What other factors? What other variables are there?
The other 2 may have repaired damage, and he might not have done.
Yeah, good point.
Which is why potentially Didi could potentially have jumped Archie. Maybe Archie had a bit more damage than Didi. But
very feasible.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Because Archie's now, what, 3.5 seconds off of Didi, so he's lost out to him by quite some way as well, considering he went into the pits in front of him. And likewise, Didi being 2.5 seconds behind Guitar Rich, although he's not. Oh no, he is, because that's not Didi.
That's representative.
Spuz.
But
yeah, Spuz, that's right behind him. I was looking at it, I was like, there's a Porsche. Is that right on his arse?
So I mean, it could be indicative of a few things. Obviously, it could suggest that Archie was driving with damage for a lot of that stint, which then obviously bodes well for him, because if he was able to match those guys with damage, then he should theoretically have the pace of them quite comfortably at this point, and should be able to catch up, breeze past them, and then who knows, where he might be able to get to in this race. He's only about 20 seconds off of GGJ and P5. Oh, is he? Has he?
Yeah, he has, but Didi
looking to the outside. Can Didi get around him into turn one? They're side by side. Guitar Rich trying to hug the inside line, but I think Didi's got that one done around the outside. Guitar Rich tucks into the slipstream, but Didi's made the move. The thing is, though, the Porsche's got nothing on the straights compared to the Lexus. I'm sure that Guitar Rich will be coming back at him up towards turn two. Is he going to have a look? He's going to think about it there. He's a little bit too far back, and Didi holds on there. But I think Guitar Rich may have had damage in the first stint. Because
I tell you what, if he didn't, he took a hefty whack straight on to one of the walls.
Well, the thing is, I can't understand, because Guitar Rich seemed to fight that one quite hard, and yet in the first stint he was letting Didi past.
Yeah,
it's bizarre.
Maybe he felt that he had the pace to start off with, but then after letting him through twice, felt actually, do you know what? No, I could potentially keep him at bay. But yeah, unfortunate for Guitar Rich, because just coming out, the first lap after your pit stop, and then you go straight on into the wall on the final corner. And that's going to leave him vulnerable to Archie now as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. Definitely. But at the moment we can see Guitar Rich is now. It seems like he might be in a bit of trouble. We can see Didi pulling away. He's about 2 seconds clear of these guys now. So Didi's clearly got a bit of confidence out there. Archie was in the pits for a bit longer, so maybe he's got a fresh car now. Maybe he's got something underneath him which he can trust fully, and if he has, then he might even be able to chase after GGJ, because we know that Archie's a quick guy. Also came into this with a chance of the championship. We reckon that's probably going the way of Spuz as it stands. Or Spuz is in the pits to make his mandatory pit stop, so there he comes. Spuz now getting that done, but Archie now looking to try and probe Guitar Rich, force him into a mistake if he can. Down the start, finish straight they come. Only 0.4 of a second now separating them, and Guitar Rich has got Archie looking down his inside into turn one, a little bit too far back. Guitar Rich takes his normal line. Archie rides over the curb a little bit on the inside, and actually really got onto the outside curb quite a little bit as well. Now we're going to be coming down up the straight towards turn two, and is Guitar Rich letting him past? He is letting him past. Guitar Rich wanted nothing to do with that. Archie obviously in the title battle somewhat still, and that's now job done for Archie up into P7.
Yeah, quite a comfortable move really. Overall, I think with that. I think potentially Guitar Rich just looked at that and thought, it's not my battle. Especially with the damage that he might actually now have to the car. But that now gives Archie the opportunity to get a bit of fresh air. He's now just got Didi ahead of him, so he's dropped down to 4.5 seconds. So can he close that gap and then start to put a bit of pressure onto Didi? Can Didi close the gap on GGJ? We've not seen. It's the first time he's raced with us tonight, isn't it?
He's raced with us a couple of times on Sunday, but it's his first time on a Wednesday. Yeah. He races us in the sprint championship, but he's been pretty good actually in the sprint championship. For a driver who, I know GGJ a little bit because he races in our F1 league on a Friday, and obviously we haven't had that on for a couple of months now. But when I used to do some of the comms, I used to stream a load of other F1 leagues to the Motive channel. I don't do it anymore because my voice was basically dying after a few weeks of it. But I used to commentate practically every night on some F1 league, just for the sake of wanting to do something. And so I saw GGJ in quite a lot of those leagues, So I know he's very experienced on the Codemasters Formula 1 game on F121. I was speaking to him in the week, and he says he's not really into he's not really much into the F122 game. Says he's not really a fan of the physics or anything. So he's been getting more into ACC, kind of trying to get more into sim racing rather than arcade racing, which I think everybody can agree F1 doesn't really represent real life physics to the highest degree.
I think because the trouble is with the F1 games, it needs to appeal to the mass market.
Of course,
the mass market are going to be casual racers that they're not after sims. They want to play with it on their controllers and stuff, and you just wouldn't be able to kind of do it kind of justice. It's like someone playing it on this on controller. I know people do. Some people can do very well on it, but the majority of people that try and play this on controller, it's just an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, one man who we know has.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say one man who we know has really mastered the art of driving on this game on the controller. We all know who he is. I'm sure that you guys are looking at the same person I am. I am slow. Races on the controller, and I don't know how. I don't know how the hell he does it. If I'm perfectly honest with you, it's beyond me. How he goes as quickly as he does and how he is as consistent as he is. It's insane.
Yeah, definitely.
Ryan, come in.
Hello. I was on the phone to some friends talking about my money expert of losing £295 in
how on
6 hours.
How on earth did this happen?
We'll explain this after the stream.
I mean, £295. It sounds like you've been out on a bit of a mad one. By the sounds of it.
I was laying in bed and done £295.
How the hell do you do that? I've done that when I've been out, not when I've been late. Well, actually, maybe I shouldn't.
I've done it whilst out in a nightclub drinking and.
Yeah, it's easily done then.
Yeah, but. No, this was me laying in bed and I'd done £295. Wait, Andy, do you have that app that you play pool and you win money?
Yes, I do.
What's it called?
It's called Pool Payday.
I'm gonna download it.
Just a quick notice to anybody who's under the age of 18, please ignore everything that we're saying because we do not condone or promote gambling in any way, shape or form. Please gamble responsibly. When the fun stops, please do stop.
I'm now downloading it. I'm gonna.
Now give us all your money. Yeah.
I'm gonna use £5 and try and win some money.
Yeah, but you're a lunatic. You're a lunatic, mate.
Just going back to the race quickly, guys. So just been keeping an eye on DD's time, and over the course of a lap and a half, maybe 2 laps, he's brought the gap down between him and GGJ by 2 seconds. So definitely one to keep an eye on if he can keep the consistent driving that he's got at the moment, because he's pulling away from Archie as well. So he's definitely got a bit more confidence in the car since going into the pit. He may actually be able to catch up to him by the end of this race.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past Didi at all, the rate he's going. Archie's got ahead of Guitar Edge like Didi did. Guitar Edge has fallen by the wayside. But yeah, Didi, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the damage in the first part of the race that was holding him back.
Yeah, Didi's normally a very consistent driver, and actually normally battling it out towards the top end of the field. So surprised to see him. I mean, he didn't put the qualifying lap in, and then I think that could have made him get caught up in a couple of things. Obviously, we saw Ryan mentioned as well in the replay that he got a little bit of a tag from the first out onto the driving line, but yeah, he's definitely starting to close that gap down. It seems as though the confidence is now back in him, so it'll be interesting to see if he can actually get onto the back of GGJ by the end of the race.
Absolutely is.
Not much has really happened in this race now.
No, as you said, you mentioned Didi closing in on GGJ. GGJ responded a little bit on that lap, not massively. It's not like he set the world alight, but he pulled away by a couple of tenths to Didi. Let's keep an eye on the first sector times. This is the part of the track where I suppose you'd expect that Didi would lose a bit of time, but then again, the Porsche and the McLaren aren't too different actually. Didi just gained 7/10 of a second coming through the first sector, so he is really getting it down by quite a bit. So yeah,
almost half a second pull away from Archie as well. So Didi is definitely flying at the moment.
Yeah, the McLaren is
the fastest drivers on the track.
McLaren is below average in terms of straight line speed, but it's very quick through the corners as well. It's not terrible down the straights. It's certainly, I think the McLaren's got more power than the Porsche, but it's not the best by any means. I mean, it's not.
I think it's the car that's got the highest top speed though.
Has it?
I think it's the highest actual top speed that you could go. So if you use red line in it, I think the McLaren's the fastest.
But in terms of overall acceleration and general straight line speed, I don't think it was all that great, as far as I had it down. I could be wrong.
I don't think it's bad. I mean,
I didn't think it was particularly much.
Better than the Porsche, that's for sure. But yeah, I think there are a fair few cars that will beat it off the line. But yeah, if you can get it up to the top end of the top speed, then it's the quickest car.
Yeah, oh wow, I'm really surprised because I always had it down the Lexuses, the Mercedes, Audis, and that were kind of like the cars to be in if you wanted, around a fast track like Monza, for example. I always thought those were the cars you wanted to be in, and maybe the Ferraris, the McLarens, were sort of like the mid-pack ones, the Bentleys, they were kind of like the mediocre ones, the jacks of all trades, so to speak. That's how I had it down. But maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before. I will be wrong many times again, and it's just part and parcel of being a commentator. You do sometimes talk an absolute load of bollocks.
Yeah.
It's a part. It's as another commentator would have said on this channel. It's par for the course.
Half for the course.
Remember who said that? I don't even need to go into that. We can discuss this after. We can mention this after, but we all know who I'm talking about.
Oh! There's a car going straight on in front of Didi. Who is that? That would be. I've just seen a notification through my phone. Emma Rodner, or whatever her name is, a tennis player that's from England, has just beat Serena Williams in straight sets.
Emma Raducanu.
Yeah, Raducanu, that one. She just beat Serena Williams straight sets.
Is she going to win another Grand Slam like she did last year?
What she should have done this year at Wimbledon.
It was the US Open she won last year, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
She might do it again this year.
But she just likes to moan though. Oh, I get too much pressure put on me. What do you mean?
Mate, you want a bloody Grand Slam? Like, come on.
Yeah, you're a tennis player playing in your home country after winning the Grand Slam in the States. What do you expect?
That is very true. Like, what do you actually expect? I'm just looking at the gap. I'm honestly struggling here. I'm just looking at the gap between Jasmine and I am slow. It is near on half a lap.
It'd be a bit like Lewis Hamilton saying to the crowds, "Can you just not be jumping up and down at every corner and shouting my name and stuff? Could you just all sit there nice and calmly and just stop making such a racket? Thank you."
Speaking of gaps, though, Didi is now down to 6.4.
Oh.
Yes, he is definitely chipping away at that lead, a bit like Tiger Woods.
I think GGJ must have made a mistake.
Why is Brian playing Paul Payday? I've heard that noise in the background. I recognise that noise. I've heard that. I hear that multiple times a day. Do you know what? You know what's really bad? I associate hearing that noise with disappointment when I see my game results pop up on the screen. As soon as I heard that noise, I was like, oh, groan. Yeah.
Oh, let's have a go.
You're going to lose money. You need to play on the practice games first. Do the practice games before you actually play for money, because you will lose. You need to practice a lot before you actually make money.
Fair enough.
What are the plans for next season then, Andy?
Do you know what? I was thinking to myself, like, because obviously it's the autumn and stuff, I don't know whether I should be so. I suppose we can discuss it on stream. It's like, you know, everybody. For one, not too many people tune in, but also the fact that I mean, the community deserves to be a part of it. But my idea, I had an idea, and I know this sounds completely mad, but considering we've got a month, I know this sounds mad considering the fact we can't even fill up one tier. But my idea was that if we promote it properly, put in a few clips of our streams and stuff, my idea was we could have a Pro League and a Pro-Am League. So the Pro League is a minimum of 75 SA. So we run our tiers not based on speed, but on SA rating. That's what I was sort of thinking of, maybe.
Okay.
We run tiers based on SA rating. So you have the Pro, which is 75 minimum, and then a Pro-Am, which is, say, 50 or 55 minimum. Because I know there's a lot of drivers who this season have been complaining about the SA rating being set too high for them to race. Now this could work out for us and it could work out for them, because we could have two leagues. Oh, PS Vids has just lost it. PS Vids has spun round and back end into the wall, coming up the hill through the mountain section. He's onto the gravel as well. And we've got a yellow flag through that section. I was thinking to myself, because there's a lot of people who haven't got SA ratings high enough to take part in the leagues, you know, we could obviously help ourselves by having an extra league. That would be more drivers, and you know, we could also help out the people who don't have an SA high enough. They could race in that league. They could kind of help themselves by getting their SA up, and you know, potentially it could be beneficial for us and them, if you see what I mean.
To kind of have like or yeah, like like you say, a Pro-Am, but like kind of a welcome,
yeah,
to motive kind of.
We could run the Pro-Am as a shorter race, maybe half an hour, at say 7 at this time, and then we could run the Pro at maybe 8 p.m. about an hour later than what we do now.
Yeah.
It would be a bit like how we used to run the GT4s when we had 2 tiers. We had tier 2 at 7, tier 1 at 8, and obviously it would take a bit of work because. You know,
sorry, if you haven't clicked on it already, DD is all over the back of GGJ now.
Yeah, I'm on it now.
Yeah,
as DD looking to the inside. But yeah, no, that was my idea. I kind of actually, the last couple of days, I've just been making notes on my phone, kind of like setting up note pages and stuff, and just kind of brainstorming, really, to be honest. That's kind of what was. Obviously, the reason we're discussing this now, in case anyone's wondering why we're having this staff meeting now, is because Freeman does actually have to shoot off after the stream. So, seeing as there's not too much going on, we're kind of just having this discussion now. But that's the idea. I mean, that's what I was thinking of.
And then what about the plans for PS5?
PS5, I was thinking Sunday.
Yep.
Sunday night.
I was actually looking at DD, looking to go around the outside. No.
What were you thinking? Because I know you're not around on Sundays, are you?
No. I'm not available Sundays, no. But as you know, more than happy to kind of help out with it as when I can. But yeah, no, Sundays, yeah, I think that would work. It'd be good to get the PS5 going. Kind of hopefully the spectator mode would be sorted with the 1.8 patch, which is due out in September.
That's what I'm thinking. They say end of summer in September. Now, end of summer, logically, you would think that would be before the 21st, before the autumn equinox, I would have thought. So, going by that logic, I've kind of penciled in the start of the season for the 19th, I think it is, it's either the 19th or either the 12th or the 19th, I think it's the 19th. So by the time we get to the Sunday, that'll be Sunday 26th, so that would be almost perfect. It would basically coincide with it.
So there you go, PS5 users.
PS5 users, if you fancy. I know there's a few of you in this one. Jazzman, Spuzz, is DD? I don't know, I can't remember. I know PS Vids is, so that's 3 guys who I know racing here who are all PS5 users. But it's something we're looking at getting going again, because obviously we had to put it on the back burner for a while. It's really down to the fact that motive for me has always been about the streaming, and that's kind of the main selling point for me, always has been and always will be. So without the ability to do a proper broadcast, I kind of just felt like the PS5 wasn't really the place. But definitely, like you say, with 1.8 due out next month, and I looked at it the other day. There's still no real definitive update, but then again, 505 are like that on the PlayStation. They tend to not announce something until generally they announce stuff on the morning that it's coming out. That's usually the way they do it. They'll put it out on the 505 Discord or Twitter, and they'll say we'll be releasing the ACC PS5 update tonight, and it's like, right, excellent. But that's literally how they do it usually.
Yeah.
It's very rare that they will set a date. Usually it will just be like, yep, it's happening today. So yeah,
the hope is that the game is actually going to be fixed rather than broken.
Yeah, exactly. They've had a whole summer to sort it out. Like, if it's not sorted out now, I'll start to lose hope. But also, what I'd like to say,
that's the release of the new BMW GT3 as well. I think with the 1.8 update.
yes, the M2.
Yeah, which I think everyone will be jumping in. So if we get a good amount of sign-ups for the September,
Maybe just be like 30 BMWs out on track.
You might as well just call it a BMW sprint series.
Brilliant. But yeah, also shout out PS4 users. I know that obviously the PS4 still very much at large at the moment, but I'd say I'm looking at potentially the end of this year, possibly. At some point you've got to say goodbye, and at some point we will have to mothball PS4. I've said it all along, and I've been saying this now for the best part of a year. We're going to stay on the PS4 for as long as we can, up until the point where there's no point anymore. And so obviously, as long as there's still demand, we'll still be racing on PS4. But we're kind of getting towards that time now. I'm not saying we're there yet, but I'm saying, obviously we're coming towards the end of the year.
Season by season, isn't it?
Yeah, start making plans for Christmas, guys. If we can start, looking in the PS5 market, it's getting towards that time now. Or PC.
But it'll be based on season by season. If the numbers are still there at the end of each season, then we'd be silly not to continue. But
yeah, of course.
If the numbers drop even lower than what they are at the moment, then I think I agree. Is DD's just hit into the wall?
Yeah, I was going to say.
A pass.
Well, you say about the numbers. I think. To be honest, I didn't really do. I don't think I did enough in the last pre-season to promote them. I think I personally could have done a lot more to maybe get them out there, and that's why I'm confident that I think we could fill up a pro tier and a pro-am. There's a lot of people on the Discord server who aren't here tonight and haven't been here this season, who have been talking about the possibility of racing, who haven't been able to race simply because their SA isn't high enough. We've had to deal with quite a few of these. We've had to turn people away because their SA rating is too low. It's under 70. And I know there's a lot of people.
Which cause concern that DD smacks the wall again. Would cause concern if they, if we're going to be putting a whole league of drivers that can't get their rating above 70.
That's why I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't make it an open essay. I wouldn't say let's make a league where anybody can join. I'd say put it at maybe 50, 55, and put the pro tier SA rating up a little bit. Move it from 70 up to 75, because obviously these drivers now have been racing a whole season on 70. If they haven't managed to get it up a little bit, then you start to wonder maybe what have they been doing. So I think maybe push the pro league up to 75. Those who aren't able to get it up to that level can still race, but it will just be there'll be another tier for people to learn their trade.
Yeah.
And at the end of the season, we'll take the top 5 drivers from Pro-Am, and as long as their rating is 75 or over, then they'll get promoted up into the Pro League. But obviously, if they haven't got their rating up, they still can't race in the Pro League, even if they have managed to achieve the right results in the Pro-Am League. It's not about being fast and about getting results. It's also about making sure that you're clean and that you show respect to the other drivers.
Yeah.
So I think it's about promoting the right ethos.
All this battling with GGJ has brought Archie right into the fold now. 1.5 seconds behind DD. So we could have a three-way battle here for 5th place.
GGJ's had a nightmare of the last few laps. What is going on?
It needs to. GGJ and DD have been battling for the last 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, since GGJ must have made a mistake.
Yeah.
But DD's been putting it into a wall a little bit. He's just trying everything to try and get past. But GGJ is just putting the car in the right places at the right times, keeping DD at bay. But it's, as I say, it's brought Archie right into the fold here because he's catching up to the back of him, and it's not going to be long before he's going to be within striking distance of DD.
So here we go then. Top 5 spot on the line here. I think Archie's championship may have slipped away from him unless we see Spuzz making mistakes. Spuzz running in a comfortable 3rd place and looks to have this title on a Wednesday night here at Motive pretty much on a plate. Pete Bibble's one of the other contenders. He's in P4. He needs to be finishing ahead of Spuzz, and by quite some way, to have any chance. He's currently behind him on that leaderboard. GGJ's clinging on by the skin of his teeth. DD looking to the inside into the final corner, a little bit too far back just there. Archie's waiting in the wings, but Archie's lost a bit of time to these two over the course of that lap. He's now 2 seconds adrift, but DD now really putting it up GG a little bit as they come into turn 1. Can he get a good run here out of the corner of the McLaren though? As Freeman said before, it's got very good top end, not the best acceleration. You'll see the Porsche stick with it in these parts of the straight, but then as they get up to speed, that McLaren will just pick up a bit of steam. Now the Porsche's looking to the outside. Here goes DD now trying to go around the outside into turn 2, but GGJ's just about got him covered as they're going side by side. No, DD's going to go right back around the outside. Oh, he goes really, really wide there on the curb. Almost went into the wall, and GGJ's got that one covered, I think. No, DD's still there on the inside, but GGJ managed to go there on the brakes and hold it around the outside. Great stuff there from those two. Really close and cagey racing, but this is bringing Archie right onto the back of them as he's now only a second off of them. So Archie fell off of them a little bit towards the back end of the previous lap, and he has now found himself well back in this battle once again. But it's ebbing and flowing here as Archie, big slide there coming through the first of the left-handers, which is kind of akin to the Istanbul Turn 8 at Turkey. You've got that series of left-hander, triple apex left-hander as they come through there before the chicane. But currently GGJ just doing what he has to do at the moment to keep DD behind him. But it's just going to take a little mistake here from GGJ and DD will be through.
Yeah, to be honest, it's been a really good battle, as I say, really good battle for the last 10-15 minutes. These two have been going at it, and it's going to just get even more interesting once Archie can actually get up to the back of him. He just needs to stay focused and make sure that he's kind of hitting the apexes, getting good exits, and he will be on the back of him before too long. DD looks to go to the inside.
Yeah, but the McLaren's just getting up to speed now. There we go. Look, it's gone. Yeah. As soon as they get up to about 170, that's when the Porsche tops out and the McLaren's gone. See you later.
And it looks as though DD's just thrown absolutely everything he can just to try and even just put him up a little bit. Just throwing his nose out there, knowing he's not going to make that lunge, but just putting his kind of nose out so he can see him in his mirrors, try and put him off that little bit. So far, GGJ's not falling for it at all.
There's the Ferrari of Diamenta just coming through your shot in the foreground, but these three are still going at it right now. Well, Archie's just kind of sat on the fringes. GGJ has got DD really pressuring rising once again, but he's not as close this time as he was on the last lap. He's still going to look to try and go on the outside. I don't think he's going to find the grip on the outside. Is he? No, I think he is this time actually. DD there, really close to the wall. This time he manages to pull it off. Wow. Well, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting that because he was a lot further away this time than the last lap. Maybe GGJ was just lured into a bit of a false sense of security there. Maybe just thought he had it covered. And DD said, right, I'm just going to send it around the outside.
Yeah, well, I think he had to test one the previous lap. It said just couldn't get the traction that he needed to get out of the corner. This time round, made no mistake, knew exactly what he was doing. Excellent move pulled off there.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant stuff. So DD now into some clean air. I think P5 is probably going to be the summit of his expectations here tonight, but nonetheless, some good points here in this race. He was down in P10 at one point, so he's had a really solid fight back here in this one as DDTKU. You got to give it to him. I'm sure that JR will be watching from afar, if not live, then later on we'll be pretty chuffed with that. Obviously, we've got two Ryan DJC boys alongside me in the box, who I'm sure are pretty happy with that as well. But yeah, DD's now definitely made. he made heavy work of it, but you know, he did get past him, and GGJ's now got to watch out because Archie is just over a second behind him. But maybe now that GGJ hasn't got the pressure from Didi behind him, he might be better equipped to try and maximise his pace, and that just might make Archie's life a little bit more difficult now that these two guys in front of him are no longer battling each other.
Yeah, from what I've seen, I mean, as I mentioned, it's the first time I've seen GGJ race this evening. He's put in a really solid performance. I actually don't recall seeing him actually make any major mistakes throughout the whole race so far. You know, been around 20 minutes. He's coming under pressure from Archie at the moment. You know, but keeping Didi behind him for that long, Didi is definitely the quicker driver. You can see that now. But to be able to keep him behind, and you know, and soak up.
Archie looking around the outside of GGJ. GGJ is vulnerable in this part of the track. We've seen before. Survives this time.
But yeah, to kind of soak up that pressure, and it was in the end, it was actually a good move by Didi. It wasn't an error made by GGJ. I feel on that pass. So solid performance. But looking forward to seeing him next season. You know, once he's got a little bit more time under his belt in ACC and potentially does a couple more races, I think he could potentially be a challenger at the top end.
Yeah, for sure. Once his experience is there, I think it's definitely going to be. There's a lot of potential to be unlocked. But at the moment, Gigi's pulling away a little bit from Archie coming through this part of the track. As you'd expect, the McLaren's got it's got very good cornering grip. The Lexus, not so much. So at this point, Gigi's just putting it out of the gap, but then Archie will probably come back at him, coming down towards the chase, and then again up towards turn 2. But Didi's absolutely gone here. He's now said, "I'm sorry, boys, but I'm checking out here. I will see you at the finish," and off he's gone. But Archie's just over a second now behind GGJ, so GGJ has really done well coming through that middle sector there. In terms of the rest of the pack, there isn't really much going on at the moment. Everybody's kind of spread out. Jazzman's still leading. I am still a long way behind him in second place, and then there's a moderately long way back to Spuzz, who's running in third as well. So they're quite spread out at this point, really, and I think Pete Bibb is a little way. Well, I think over a lap.
There from Andy.
Yeah. I'm shattered.
Yeah, well, we've been literally been watching the closest battle. The only reason there's been any changes towards the lower end of the grid is people making mistakes and having to go into the pits. As you see, Archie all over the back of GGJ. Is he going to make a move around the outside?
GGJ sometimes goes a little bit too cautious through this part of the track. Archie wide, but he's going to get it done, I think. Or no, GGJ's going to try and come back at him. Oh, it's side by side. I think Archie's going to have it done there for the left-hander though. Keeps it there. No, GGJ back around the outside. Oh, great racing there from GGJ. Never say die. Kept himself in there, hung in there till the bitter end, and keeps himself in P6 somehow. I don't quite know how he did that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he's struggling on that corner, as you say. I think and Archie would have seen Didi try it twice. And I'm sure Archie's thinking that I can definitely get that move up there as well. We've got like 7 minutes left, so essentially three more laps potentially, or maybe more. Actually, yeah. Maybe
Jazzman's just starting lap 40, so yeah, 4 more laps. I think we're going to end up doing 40. This is for lap 41, so we'll end up doing 44 laps, I reckon, overall. So yeah, these guys are going to have 4.5 more laps at this point from where they are at the moment.
Yeah, and you can just see the advantage as well from the McLaren through the mountain section there that he has over Archie. He's pulled that gap to 1.5. I didn't see anything from Archie to see that he made any mistakes. I think it potentially might have been, but also as well just the ability of the McLaren to get round the corners, as you were saying earlier, Andy, compared to the Lexus.
Oh, GGJ, they're just swerving they both put a lap on Farmerton there. Farmerton, as diligently as he probably could in that situation, moving aside, but that's lost both of them quite a bit of time, to be fair, because Archie's now over a second behind GGJ. So, I mean, there's still 4 laps, as we said before. Archie will have his opportunities, but you feel that maybe GGJ has learnt his lesson a bit with Didi, and is going to be a bit more of a wily old head to get past. I say wily old head. I think GGJ is quite young. I think he's like, I don't know, to be honest. I think he's about 18 or something like that. I don't know. Maybe younger than that. But yeah, he seems like he's getting to grips with this game very well indeed. Archie has actually reeled him in quite a bit. He's actually gained quite a lot coming through that first sector. The gap's only 6/10 now, so it is ebbing and flowing. But this is now, yeah, it's just suddenly dropped down by quite a bit. But these two not really on the pace of Didi. I think Didi must have been carrying some quite serious damage in the first part of the race, because he was clearly not on a par with them in terms of his overall pace tonight. His pace was probably more in the region, probably more in the ballpark of, say, Spuz, if I'm honest with you. I think we haven't really seen the best of Didi tonight, in the first part of the race especially. It is a question of what could it be. Maybe he could have been in a battle for the podiums, we don't know. But at the moment it looks like this battle for 6th and 7th is definitely very much between these two. GGJ keeps extending the gap through the middle sector up the mountain top. It's now 1.2, but as we know, Archie's got so much more straight line speed, and he's already brought that gap down to under a second. You can see visibly, just looking at the screen, you can see it's well under a second coming through the chicane. So the speed that Lexus has got is absolutely insane. Once they get to the top end, it seems to me like the Lexus has got a better top end than the McLaren, which I know isn't what you mentioned, Freeman.
Yeah, the
but
McLaren's slower at getting to the top end. I think that's the trouble. And I don't even think at Bathurst it can get to the top end.
So it would be like, say for example, they're like a 5 mile drag strip. The McLaren would be the fastest car in terms of that, basically. I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
But over the distance, Archie I think was closer then than he had been for the majority of the race, but still not able to kind of make that move. He's running out of time to be able to get a move done. As we know, this is where GGJ will start pulling away. And kind of looking at how GGJ have been racing so far, I don't think there's going to, you never guarantee it, but it doesn't look like he's going to be forced into a mistake. So Archie has got to try and make that move if he wants to try and take 6th place. Because he's still got Pete Bibb potentially going to be able to take 2nd place away from him. I'm not sure what the point system would be. I'll have to check that out. In fact, I'll do that now for the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, so Freeman's going to try and get that ready for us so that we can actually announce the championship standings as we finish this race. Obviously, we believe that Spuz has got it within his grasp at this point. We think that he's probably going to be taking it.
Yes, but if Spuz finishes 3rd, he will win the championship. It will be between Archie and Pete Beard to finish 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, because Spuz was leading the championship coming into it, and the only drivers who could mathematically deny him were these two, Pete Bibb and obviously Archie. And if he's ahead of both of them, it's impossible for them to jump him in the standings. That's obvious. But Jazzman leading the race, I am slow in 2nd. Jazzman, we think, has got a chance of winning the championship in the GT3 Sprint Championship here at Motive on a Sunday. He's been racing very well in that one indeed. In fact, I don't think he's failed to win a single race he's entered in the Sprint Championship. I think he's won 6 from 6 so far this season that he's entered. He missed the first round, but he's then gone on to win rounds 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, and we go into rounds 9 and 10 at Kyle Army this Sunday. He could be looking to try and make it a clean sweep of victories, but nonetheless, Jazzman going down the hill. We'll be starting his final lap pretty soon. We're going to jump back onto this battle though between GGJ and Archie, because Archie's got a right run up towards turn 2. We've seen GGJ being passed by Didi before, but Archie can't do it there. GGJ holds on for the time being, but GGJ is coming under the cosh very, very heavily from Archie now. Archie will be starting to throw caution to the wind at this point, knowing that he's not got much to lose here in this race. These guys now 10 seconds behind Didi, so Didi's really pulled out that gap over the last few laps, but GGJ is just about holding off Archie at the moment, but for how much longer is he going to be able to weather this storm? He's only got to get around one more lap of this Mount Panorama circuit if he is to bring home this P6.
So as it stands, Archie would still finish second in the championship by, I think, by about 6 points. Over Pete Bibb. Pete Bibb will finish third.
So he doesn't need to get ahead of GGJ. He can just hold position in it, and he will do it.
Yeah. Whether he's aware of that or not is another thing.
Yeah, if he's listening to the stream, he'll know. I know that Archie watches our streams on Project Cars 2 when he's not racing, but as far as I know, I don't think he listens to them while he's racing. I know most people can't listen to the streams when they're racing. I'm actually one of them. I can't listen to streams. It's too distracting when you can hear somebody talking about you. So I know Freeman, I think it's the same, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%.
Ryan, I think it's the same. None of us can listen.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's something you watch after, but during it, it's like it's too distracting.
Yeah, because there's times when you need to kind of concentrate. When I race on the PC, I do a lot of my racing now with JR.
Yeah.
And me and JR generally stream our races, and we have a chat going on Discord. But it's different when you're both racing, because although JR does talk, he's generally talking about the race and stuff, but there's times as well where he's concentrating, and not like me. But yeah, I couldn't have it where if you've got a commentator kind of in your ear the whole race. I don't know how Pod does it every week with us.
Yeah, it's different when you're chatting with your mate about the race, and when you can hear somebody saying, "And he's gonna win this race now," or he's about to make the move on him. No, he's messed it up. He's spun it. You know, I always used to spin whenever JR used to commentate on me. This is back on Project Cars 2. You know, about 3 years ago. Got JR would flick to me, and I would just panic.
Sorry, Jazzman's coming over the line.
Yeah, he has. He's taken the checker flag. Jazzman takes another win here at Motive, and he rounds off this GT3 endurance season here on a Wednesday night with a race win, but obviously does not take the championship this time around, as he missed the first 2 races of the season. So unfortunate that he wasn't.
A couple of disconnections as well, didn't he?
Yeah, to boot, yeah. So Jazzman does take a win, but not the championship this time for our South African man driving out of Qatar. But we have got I Am Slow coming through the in towards the final sector now. He's a long way behind Jazzman, but to be fair, has stuck to the task. He's been extending the gap to Spaz reasonably consistently over the course of this one. He's about a minute behind Jazzman, I think, on the road, but nonetheless.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult race for I Am Slow, Spaz and Pete Bibb, being that far split apart for the majority of the race as well. You know, it's a long race tonight, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
To keep their concentration levels up, they've done really well.
100%. Pete Bibb and Didi have both finished the race a lap down. Guitar Rich has finished 2 laps down. So has Nelson, PS Fids and Farmerson. GGJ finished behind. Finished ahead of Archie. So GGJ held on from Archie. Those 2 are lap down in 6th and 7th. I Am Slow comes over to finish in P2 here in this race. Spaz will be the last man to finish, and quite fittingly here, because he gets the eyes on him, he gets the cameras on him, he gets all the adulation from everybody watching here at Motive Racing. Spaz, Mr. Consistent this season here in the GT3 Endurance, I believe he hasn't taken a single win, but he's been up there or thereabouts every time he's turned out this season, and Spaz coming over the line is going to take the championship here for the Endurance Wednesday League here at Motive on the PlayStation platform. Congratulations to Spaz, Mr. 108 Porsche. What a drive, what a job this season he has done. He's always been there or thereabouts, and he's just managed to do the job. Great stuff there from him as he does some celebratory donuts at the end of the race. And it just goes to show you don't need to win races to win championships.
You are absolutely correct. He has not won a race this season. Highest position was 2nd. He got the star. A couple of thirds. 4th. He actually missed Imola to last week's race, and takes a P3 here today. So yeah, congratulations.
So three thirds, a 2nd and a 4th. That is the definition of consistency. That is incredible.
Yeah.
well, what a season from Spuz, and congratulations to him on taking the title for this season. Congratulations to Archie, came into this with a chance. We believe Archie is held on for second in the championship over Pete Bibb, so well done to Spuz on taking the title. Archie obviously for taking second, and Pete Bibb completing the podium for the season. Well done to Jazzman and I'm Slow for taking 1 and 2, and Spuz obviously for completing the podium here tonight. And we hope that you guys will join us for next season on a Wednesday night, and indeed every night of the week, hopefully as well. And if anybody's up for joining the leagues, we'll still be running on the PS4 version, as far as we know, on a Wednesday night for next season. For the start of next year, we'll be obviously starting to hopefully move over to PS5 on a full-time basis. But yeah, we'll still be running on the PS4 version next season. So if you want to come along, if you want to sign up, if your SA is not quite high enough, don't worry. There will be a Pro-Am division for anybody who wants to join. Pro-Am division will be a 55 minimum SA rating. The Pros, obviously, you need to have 75 or over. Hopefully we'll have a nice mix, and we'll have close to full grids for both. But guys, obviously, Freeman, league coordinator for this league. In terms of the racing you've seen this season, it's been very clean. It's been very tidy. Are you impressed with the guys? And
yeah, definitely. I think the standard of actual driving since we've increased the SA has done exactly what we wanted it to do. You know, it's increased the standards for the guys out on track, and that's what we want. You know, we want everyone to have the experience of your good hard racing, but know that you're going up against people that are fair and clean. And yes, there's been contacts made. There's people that have made inquiries, etc. But it happens. These things, mistakes do happen in racing. But overall, yeah, I've been really impressed with the guys. I think it's been a really good season to watch, and hopefully a lot of these guys will stick around for next season. We'll continue Wednesday nights, and also look forward to the PS5 season starting up as well. Hopefully we can get some guys coming across playing potentially both versions, the PS4 and PS5.
yeah, definitely PS5 hopefully on Sundays, but we'll still be running on the PS4 version of ACC here on a Wednesdays. Hopefully we'll be able to run the Pro and the Pro-Am division, and yeah. Once again, thanks everybody for jumping in. Cheers to the drivers for obviously watching this back afterwards. If you guys do enjoy watching the stream, please do smash the like button. It really does help us out. If you want to share this with your friends, your family, get them to check out what you're getting up to on sim racing, then please, by all means, do so. Get them to take a look. Get them to drop a comment, a like, anything. And yeah, we'll hopefully see you all next season. Thanks to Ryan, obviously, for being here tonight. He's been playing 8-Ball Pool in the background, so we're not really sure if he's still... No, I think he's busy probably playing a game. But yeah, thanks everybody, and yeah, see ya.
See you next season.